You're welcome to the halftime report powered by Sports Cannabis. I'm your host, D Rey. I'm here with this is gonna be a fun conversation because you're willing to be outspoken about it. Like we was just talking about before we hopped on camera. You're willing to be the front guy for it. You got a lot going for you. You're known as the greatest Titan to wear that number, and it's just I can't do it justice. So we like to let people introduce themselves on this show. So Bo, tell the people who you are when we getting into today.
Okay, my name is Bo Scaife from Denver, Colorado, the Mile High. We know why it's the Mile High. Went to the University of Texas, played with some amazing athletes there, won a Rose Bowl. Played in the NFL for 8 years, Tennessee Titans, Bengals, Patriots. Retired in 2013. Went and got my MBA at George Washington University with a bunch of amazing athletes and entertainers. That was a great experience. Turned myself into an entrepreneur, investment, real estate, mentor to young athletes. And now I'm into this cannabis industry as, building an amazing project down here in Southern Colorado. We're calling it a cannabis business park, cannabis resort project. A lot of moving pieces to it, but just excited to be in the industry and break all the stigmas and really create a true narrative around cannabis and the plant and what's going on in the industry. So I appreciate you guys for having me, and I'm excited to jump into whatever we're talking about today.
Bet that. We want to get right into it. But I understand you had a lot of surgeries, right? Like you had a couple surgeries while you were playing, a couple out of it, right?
Yeah. I tore my ACL 3 times in 5 years.
Was it all? It wasn't all in the same leg, was it?
Nah, so 2 on my left, and then 1 on my right. I mean, bro, I didn't think I was going to the league, man. You get to that point and they throw the tag on you. He's injury prone. He's damaged goods. My head was messed up, almost flunked out of school. So it wasn't looking too bright for me.
So was that when your journey with cannabis started, or was it later on?
That's definitely probably the highlight really of, the ignite of my real cannabis jersey. I was in such a dark place in that time. I mean, you can only imagine. I mean, you're chasing something and you keep getting set back and you keep getting set back. And you're like, damn, like, why is this happening to me? And this is at a young age when we're still developing, we're still growing our minds and stuff. And you're watching your friends go to the league. And, I went to a big university. So, we had a lot of great things going on. So it was hard just to sit back and watch everything and watch all that success and be on the sideline. I literally was the kid sitting on the outside of the fence watching his homies play. And, I fell into a real dark place now. I'm real thankful for this plant, man, and for this opportunity because, everything I'm doing right now is really a byproduct of, my pain and all the struggles that I've had, throughout my career.
It's I hear a bit of myself. Well, shit, I guess you're older than me, so I would say I hear you and me when it comes to the time you started using cannabis. A lot of people talk about, cannabis use for inflammation and injury, things like that. People don't understand, especially when you're an athlete and like your body is the machine that you use to make money, and so much of your identity rides on your body and the health of your body. It takes a huge mental toll. And it seems like you were very aware of, all right, how is this affecting me mentally? Obviously, in the moment you party and you're doing different things, it might be like your conscience is nagging at you, but for the most part, you seem like you were aware of it in that moment. So talk to me about the difference of the opioids they gave you to deal with the pain and things like that. And then when you started dealing with cannabis and how that helped you deal with the pain, not just physically, but mentally too.
And that's really what really flipped me to, really believing in cannabis. The opioids, the painkillers, and, I'm used to, after all these surgeries, I had been used to taking these painkillers, but, when I'm in college and I wasn't home, I wasn't really monitoring like that. So I'm popping this stuff like it's candy, just to cope with how I'm feeling as a whole. And I got to the point where it was really, really making me sick. I was nauseous all day long, man. My thoughts was all messed up, man. I'm thinking, my life is over. How in the hell, what am I doing here? What's going to happen? And everything was just all out of order, man. And, physically, like I said, I never felt like myself. Like I never felt like I was getting better. I just felt like I was walking around like a zombie, soaking up in all this sorrow and all this pain. And so, I noticed when I first started using cannabis and really started getting into it. And, we had a few friends down there who had a little bit of money down there. So, we got off the Reggie and we were smoking that good. He was buying the good stuff. He bought the good stuff. So, and I'm fortunate because, I started to really see the difference on how it was making me feel, how it was changing my moods, how it was just uplifting my whole persona to say each and every day. And, it was just contagious. And it was such a notable difference to me that it was easier for me to let go of those opioids and to really drench myself in cannabis because I totally hated that feeling that I was getting from the opioids. But I embraced the feeling that cannabis gave me. And it was not just physically like with the relief, I don't have to take these pills and my knee is getting better. Everything that was bothering me isn't ailing me as much, but my mood in my head, it was in such a better space. And, especially in today's age that we're talking so much about mental health. And I can honestly say that cannabis probably did save my life because if I would have kept spiraling down the path I was on, with the opioids and, going out and drinking every night and mixing all that stuff together, man, ain't no telling what that could happen. I mean, that's just a path of destruction. So I'm glad that I was able and conscious enough to, really make that decision, even though, I failed a couple of drug tests in college for that stuff, and my coaches were pissed at me for using cannabis. And, I was ridiculed a little bit and it was used against me, but everything, found its way to still work out for me. And I'm glad I'm where I'm at now. And I owe a lot of it to cannabis itself.
So do you remember like the aha moment with cannabis? Like for me, it was probably, as far as surgery goes, not just in general, but as far as like the medicinal use of and actually used to heal me, it was 2 days after my knee surgery. I tore my ACL, LCL, PCL, my hamstring ripped off, all in one play. And after surgery, they give me all these pills. I took them for like 2 days, and then I was done. I was like, I can't do this anymore. My mom was staying with me. She was taking care of me. And like you said, the stigma's around it. So I didn't want to tell her, like, at first I was like, I'm going to just do the edibles. I was like, all right, I got to let moms know. So I just pulled her aside, like, listen, I understand if you don't want to be a part of this, but if you're going to be here taking care of me, I appreciate it, first of all, but I'm going to have to smoke. I cannot take these pills anymore. And she was all for it. And for me, I think not even being high in that moment, that was the aha moment. My mom, like, she's the saint. She doesn't do anything. She don't drink. She don't smoke. She don't party. So to see her so willing to get on board with it, that was kind of my aha moment. Do you have a moment? It ain't got to be with a family member, but do you have a moment where you were like, this is it? You know what I mean? I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path.
Just going, I don't think it was one moment. It was like a gradual thing where I just got more comfortable using it, and people weren't going to be able to talk me out of, this path that I was on because I had already been in such a dark place. I wasn't going back. And it's hard for people to understand that journey that people, when they don't walk in your shoes, right? I mean, even a doctor, they could still be prescribing whatever, but they don't know. Everyone reacts to prescription drugs and to substances differently, But one thing we do know, and, a lot of families, a lot of people in this world have suffered or lost family members or lost relationships with their family members because of prescription drugs, because of opioids. There's people overdosing every day on this stuff. I have some family members that I've lost, and my relationship has been damaged with them because it's really took them and changed the person that they were. It's changed their whole cognitive nature. And it's not even like dealing with the same person that you used to dealing with before they got hooked on that stuff. So, those opioids are a powerful thing. And, it's just amazing to me that it's been allowed to go on for so long, knowing how disruptive and dangerous this stuff is and the damage that it does to people. So it's just amazing to me that, even in 2022, with all the research and data and all the, statistics that we have from what these pills have done to people, that we're still able to, sell them, and people still able to get so much access to them, and they don't have other viable options like cannabis to be able to treat some of the ailments and the symptoms that they have.
At this point, we have the answers. A lot of the companies helping fuel this shit is on trial right now, or they already lost in class action lawsuits. So it's like, if people don't understand why this stuff is still moving the way that it's moving and why it's taking so long for people to be like, hold on, what's going on? It's like, it's the same people giving the drugs out.
Okay.
But to shift gears back to the NFL, after all them injuries, you obviously still make the NFL. And you go on to be the only tight end in history to, let me get this straight, to rush for a touchdown, to catch a touchdown, return a kickoff, and record a tackle in the same season. You are the only tight end in the history of the NFL to do that. How the hell do you go from being in that dark place of, I'm on my third surgery and I'm probably written off, to being 101 in a space like the NFL?
It was I guess the main thing was support. Family, sports is amazing in that regard because you got a team around you. And even if, you guys aren't always on the court or the field together, those are still your boys, those are still your brothers. And, I had some amazing guys around me when I was at Texas that they knew I was down. They knew I was sick. They knew, I was in a dark place, and they never turned their back on me. They pulled me up. They try to lift me up as much as they can. But ultimately, it's up to you to be able to pull yourself. But that support is so helpful. I also, cannabis really helped me to kind of compartmentalize what I was going through and dealing with that situation I was going through. Like, I still had a chance when I came back. And so being able to shift that perspective and that mindset when you're going through adversity, or when you're in the middle of chaos, that you do got hope. Cannabis helped me find that hope that I needed to carry on and to still, fight for the dream of making it to the NFL. Bro, 1% is going to the NFL off a rip. Now, what are the chances or the odds of someone going to the NFL after 3 ACLs when the dude who's had a stellar career is 1%? So, just those odds of me making it, were 1 in a million, doing it like that. But I'm just thankful for, like I said, for that support and, for cannabis, like I said, because it really helped me to shift my perspective on what I was going through and look at it in a better light and find a way to carry on and pick myself up and move forward.
Staying on par with the NFL, though, I'm pretty sure you heard they pledged $1 million, pretty much for the study of cannabis and its effects. And two-part question for you. Number one, is that enough? And number two, where do you think these resources are going towards? Because cannabis is a big, at this point, it's kind of like liquor. You know what I mean? You got wine, you got gin, you got, vodka, you got all these different things. You got different ways to use it. You got cooking wine. So it's like, there's all these applications of cannabis now, but you hear them make a blanket statement, we're throwing $1 million at it. Like I said, number one, do you think that's enough? And number two, where do you think that million is headed?
So to answer your first question, no, it's not enough. $1 million really don't get you that far, in this time of inflation right now. Maybe 20, 30 million. And I guess we also need to look at, how that money is divvied up and what is it divvied up to, what facility is this stuff getting researched? How clean is it? What's the reputation? What's the background? Because a lot of that stuff really has a lot to do with, the kind of product and the kind of cannabis people are producing. Where is it getting produced from? This is like growing vegetables, and you want to be able to have a study where you're getting the cleanest grade of cannabis so you can really get some accurate statistics out there and really get the best product on the market so you can really know the effects of it. So that's probably one of the things that I would ask the NFL when I do get a chance to speak to them. That's always one of my goals is, how do I get my foot in that door where I'm able to show them what I'm doing and what the products that I'm creating and how effective they are for consumers. So Yeah, I mean, if that answers your question, I hope it does. But it's going to take a lot more money, not just from the NFL. I mean, the government, other big organizations, maybe some big corporations too, so they can see how it might help their employees. You know, we
Yeah.
have this huge agenda right now where, you know, people can't even smoke cannabis freely because they're getting drug tested at work. If the whole goal is to make your people more effective as a business owner and make your employees, put them in a position to be successful, then you should have them have access to all the resources and the things they need to be able to do that. So I always have coaches, and I know coaches for a fact in the sports much rather have their guys be at the home or in the room smoking a joint or taking some edibles instead of out in the club drinking, popping bottles, and poisoning their body that way. I mean, as a high performance vehicle and athlete, you know, you need every little bit of juice you got. And we know that those other substances deplete your body of those things.
Facts. Like I said, for me, like once we start having a conversation of cannabis, and I asked them like, all right, what's your take on liquor? What's your take on alcohol? And like, it's like, oh, that's fine. It's just like, all right, you haven't done your research on this shit. Cause like you said, it poisons your body. But all
you got to do is look at the hangover. All you got to do is look at the hangover you get from alcohol.
Facts.
That tells you right there, that is a prime example of your body rejecting what it does. Like, that's why it's leaving you like that, because it's not sitting well with your body.
You've been on both sides as far as being a player. Now you're on the business side, as far as being inside the coach. What do you think it's going to take for them to be like, listen, we are getting rid of that rule entirely? Because you've heard things about, all right, we want to dial it back in training camp, or we won't test as much. But what do you think is going to get to the point where it's just like, we aren't testing for cannabis anymore?
I think it's going to be more guys like us coming out. Like, let's be real, you know, the players are the entertainment. You know, they're the ones that drive this thing, you know, and they put on this amazing show for these fans. So if a Tom Brady comes out, or LeBron, KD's already doing it. If these big time athletes come out, even some of the big soccer guys in Europe, and, you know, let's just say 85% of the stars are doing it. It's probably a little higher number than that. Like you said, you know, everyone's closet smokers, but if these big names come out and speak upon it, and as athletes we unite around this, they're not going to have no choice but to, you know, just kind of lower that wall and really stand behind the players, because that's what's the driving force for their whole business.
How long do you think we are that? How far out do you think we are?
I don't think they already know.
Yeah.
It's just about getting it inked in the deal now and in paper. I mean, listen, like, most business knows what their employees are doing.
Yeah.
You know, they might not reprimand them or nothing like that. As long as they're out there doing their thing, it's all good, right? But for the safety and for the protection of the product, they know what their guys are doing. They know what their staff is doing. These are billion-dollar organizations that have all the resources in the world. So if you don't think they know what they're doing, or their employees are doing, then, you know, you're misled. So it's just going to get to the point where, you know, one of these owners also is going to have to step up and just say, hey, I don't have a problem with it. And it's going to be backed by doctors. It's going to be backed by their whole health and wellness team, their sports performance coaches, all of the above. Everyone that needs to sign off on the use of cannabis is going to have to come to the forefront. But I don't think it's further away as far as we think it is. You know, like I said, if we can just normalize these conversations, just talk about it, and not get so bent out of shape when we're talking about weed, when we're talking about a plant, then, you know, the change is going to come. If Elon Musk is out here smoking, if Bezos is out here smoking, if, you know, there's all these big names, actors, entertainers, corporate guys, the whole mix of the elites, then there's not going to be a problem with it.
This is the halftime report. You know, during halftime, we like to get into it, man. I got me a little tight one right here. I think this is a hybrid. Is Bruce Banner OG? It's an indica dominant hybrid. This is my favorite. I like the indica dominated ones. You got anything with you today?
I don't smoke in my office, but I did roll up a big one. It's a little bigger than yours, big dog. I'm sorry, man. I had to bring out the big boy today. But
I got a low tolerance these days. I'll be chilling. I
I
probably
don't
need
know. I'm smoking on this stuff right now. This is called Grandpa Stash, man. It's also a hybrid indica dominant. Terps are amazing. Smells amazing. Tastes amazing. I've been sampling these different leaves lately. The hemp wraps. I really love the hemp organic papers. We're coming out with a whole line of papers. Yep. We're coming out with a whole line of papers, pre-rolls, infused pre-rolls, specialty joints, all that type of stuff. So, man, we got some exciting stuff going on with All Pro, man.
I got to ask you something about the papers. It's funny you mentioned that. There was a time where, like, it was a joke that, like, these was called white boys. Like, if you smoke papers, it was only white boys smoke papers. Only white boys smoke joints. And for the most part, like, I know, like me, like, growing up, when I saw old heads smoking, it was always with a Rello or a
Dutch or a backwood.
Yeah. They get the frontal leaf, whatever. And I gotta be honest, I never liked that shit. Do you prefer the Rellos and the swishers and the backwoods to these?
I do. I prefer papers now, and it's because all of us, especially if you're in this industry, you're a more experienced consumer. Bottom line, but the high that you're getting with when you're smoking an actual blunt in tobacco paper or in a backwood or in a wrap, it's heavier and
That's a good word.
And it's a heavier high, and I think that's what people like. I think, and this is a theory of mine, and it's just a theory, man. And so I don't want no one to take this to heart, but I've always wondered, this in the Black community, cannabis has always been just a prominent substance, right? Yeah. And they used to always call it pressure, stress. We had all these nicknames for it, right? And it was always used as something that was therapeutic to the struggle that they were dealing with in their everyday lives. Yeah. And it's just been amazing how all this has kind of came full circle when we're talking about the benefits and the medicinal properties of why people use cannabis, but it makes so much sense why it was such a prominent substance in the Black community because, it is hard, being a Black male or raising a Black family or, maneuvering in this world. And I've always had a theory, like I just understand and I see it in a whole different light now, why the Black community has used it so much. And, then at the same time, okay, we've always been kind of public enemy number one. All right, well, now I see why they were getting punished for using it, so you find what someone likes and what a group of people, love to use and then use it against them. So, I don't know if there's any merit to any of that stuff, but it definitely has me thinking, but I'm just glad to be able to be in this space. And, I was never sure. Now that I know, in this space and I'm a cultivator myself, I'm not the actual cultivator, but I own the cultivations and I see what's going on. I see how these plants are grown. I know that we were smoking bullshit growing up. I know we were. I know they're still right now smoking bullshit right now in the streets and even on the black market side. Mm-hmm. You're not going to sit here and tell me that this stuff is grown in a clean environment because it's not.
Bro, even in dispensaries, I went and got some shit the other day. I'm like, these ashes dark as shit. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Like, it's not clean. And it was getting us high as hell. We was high as hell. Yeah. But it's because it's probably sprayed with some stuff. It's because it was probably, they trying to manipulate it something to make it nicer or to up it a little bit, whatever they was doing to it. But I'm 100% sure that what I'm growing now is cleaner than anything I ever smoked in my whole life. I'm 100% sure of that.
Hold on, we go to get to the business side of it, the side that you're on. But I gotta ask you real quick before we get there. Number one, what is your routine as far as this consumption goes? And then number two, how long did it take you to get that down pat? Because like I said, you reference liquor, wine, or whatever. Like people know, like, all right, a glass of this, I'm straight. But you pretty much find out earlier, you know what I mean, like when a glass is enough for you, or two glasses is enough for you, or kind of your threshold. And I feel like with cannabis, it's a bit more of a dance you got to do to get to that point. So how long did it take you to get to that point where you were like, all right, this is what I'm good with. These are the strains that I like. And what is your routine?
I still think I'm getting to the point of learning everything about like which strains, but I do have some amazing strains that I'm growing myself that really resonate with me in my routine. So for me, my routine, you know, I'm up early as hell. You know, when you're building shit, ain't no sleeping in, dog. Like my mind is on 1,000 as soon as I open my eyes. So, you know, I get up, I read a little bit, you know, drink a big ass thing of water. And then I just reflect and I smoke like a little half a gram joint. I smoke this stuff called Lamage. It's like my morning sativa. I smoke it, I drink me a big ass thing of water, reflect, think about what I got to do for the day. I always plan my day out, either that morning or night before. We're talking about priorities of what I got to get done that day. And then about 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'm in the gym for about an hour, you know, get that nice little sweat in. I love the euphoria of coming down from your high when you're working out. Like, you know, at first it's kind of like, oh man, you know, you're trying to catch your breath or something like that. But once it sets in, it's not too many feelings like that. You know, when you got your sweat going and that cannabis is set inside of you. Then after that, man, I shower, which you feel that whole euphoria again when you take that hot shower after working out and smoking your joint. And then I just kind of dive into, you know, my workload for the day. I do that for a few hours, and then I take usually about a 45-minute little clarity break. I'll smoke another half a gram, and I'll just kind of turn my notifications off for about 45 minutes, shut it down, and just close my eyes, sit in the chair or lay on the couch for like 45 minutes. And just, this is like my think time.
Yeah. This
is my think time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I smoke a little bit before dinner. And I you know, I usually, this routine has really helped me, you know, get that good rest later in the day. You know, I'm not sleeping that during the day. I'm not like high out of my mind where it's making me tired or sleepy, but I'm actually getting useful, progressful work done throughout the day. And I'm slowing down my thoughts because as an entrepreneur, a founder, or any CEO, you got to be able to slow down your thoughts and prioritize your decisions on what's most important. A lot of stuff that we deal with, even in our daily lives, isn't that important, but we got to find and identify what is. And cannabis really kind of helps you slow down and kind of isolate the things that you need to be doing and not worry about and push aside the things that's bullshit.
You sound like, so you talk about Kevin Durant. I was watching John with him and David Letterman earlier, and where he said the clips, it's like a clip they used from it. I watched the whole interview. But he asked him, like, you know, you're behind cannabis and you're dealing with weed maps and all of this. You know, Kevin Durant told me, I'm high right now to keep it a beam with you. So, like, to me, I think it's, like you said, like one of the things it's going to take to push it forward is more people coming out and saying, like, no, I'm someone who the track record shows I get shit done. Yeah. But doing by smoking this is, he said, it helps you clear out the noise. You're talking about compartmentalizing what's important and what isn't, making sure your mind is filed up a certain way. And I described it to Ian on an earlier episode we had of how, to me, it was like things started to click and the fog started to get, you know, moved out of the way. It was like somebody was dusting off the cobwebs on certain parts of my brain. Yep. But I've not talked about enough is we constantly as athletes talk about what it does for us physically. And I think part of the problem is nobody knows how much we have to push our bodies. So maybe the conversation should be shifted to, what is this doing for athletes mentally?
Body follows the mind. So the mind is the whole battlefield for all this type of stuff. So, right. You know, whatever your mind tells your body to do is what your body's going to do. So this is the command center anyway. And you got to have this thing right here under control or you're going to mess up. Something's going to get messed up and you're going to have to abort mission. So if you don't have this, your mind calm down and in a good place, which is what cannabis does. And I mean, I'm such an ambassador and advocate for, these therapeutic benefits of it. Like I am, like, I mean, as a visionary, a thought provoker, someone who's had hella concussions, someone who deals with anxiety and depression, someone who deals with chronic pain. Chronic pain starts in your mind and it shoots down your body into all your receptors in the areas that hurt. So being able to get all that stuff under wraps, and it's a lot to even think about. Being able to get all that under control and under wraps is what people need to do and what people need to be able to have the access and the opportunity to do. Most guys and we've seen a lot of this lately in the NFL is, I mean, there's so many dudes, these are dudes I played against, I've grown up with, I've known since high school. I mean, their lives are getting cut short because of mental health, because they're not in a good space. And, I just wish I was able to, speak to them and kind of talk them off the ledge. And like I spoke about earlier, be able to give them some hope that it was going to be all right, and that, they're loved and they're needed, and there's a lot more in store for them. And cannabis is really, like I said, it saved my life, but it's really helped me see that.
You are a businessman. And part of the reason you talk about this shit so passionately is because you understand it, and it helps fuel your lifestyle. So I like the idea that you see it from two angles. You have perspective on it in many ways, like a good player coach. So talk to us about All Pro Farms, man. Talk to us what y'all got going on.
I created All Pro Farms. I was initially a part of the Green Rush because when I first got in, I was young. I didn't understand the whole business side of it. I was fascinated with the plant because of my own story. So that's always at the root of everything that I've done when getting into this space. But, you heard all the stories about all the money and everything was making. But once you really dig into it and you get to see how these operations are built and how all these plants are growing and how you build businesses and build something special around this, you have no choice but to be receptive to everything that you have the opportunity for. So for me, man, I bought 140 acres down in Southern Colorado. I know I wanted to be in the cultivation side of things. So, we're building cultivations down there right now, but I'm really fascinated with the destination and the experience side. So the second layer to what we're doing is we're building this cannabis-friendly, cannabis-centric destination down there where people are going to be able to come down there and openly consume cannabis without having to look over their shoulder. I think that as legal as it is in certain markets in certain states, it's not as cannabis-friendly as it should be. Like, you can't just pull up anywhere and just light up and take a load off and stuff like that. So I want to be able to provide a place where people can pull up and, stay a night or two and be able to come decompress or find their clarity or slow things down and really be able to find the wellness that they're looking for and searching for, and be able to discuss and learn about this plant with other people. If you've ever been to a cannabis event, that's the best thing about it. I had one a few months ago. It was every different economic group, different races, different cultures, and no one was tripping. Everyone was vibing, everyone was bonding, everyone was talking. And that's the power also of this plant, is the amount of unity that it brings between, just people from all different backgrounds, kind of like the locker room. Locker room is a safe haven where, you are all on the same page. And I think cannabis provides that same kind of community that sports does. So it's only natural that, we have these places and these destinations where people can come convene and learn and consume and be able to discuss freely what the benefits of this platform, how it's helped them, and be able to connect and learn from other people who might have shared similar experiences, or people who are suffering from certain symptoms or things that are bothering them, and be able to come and speak to people and learn about how they can treat whatever they're dealing with. So, that's my big vision. We're building this thing out in phases. Right now, I'm getting and launching my product into multiple stores out here in Denver, Colorado. I'm a native, so I'm excited to really bring this to, the place I grew up in. I love being on the front line for this. I was very worried, like everybody else, about, how I was going to be looked at early on. But listen, man, I'm 41 years old now. I got a beautiful daughter. I'm educated. I'm not perfect. I got a lot of stuff that I'm dealing with, from football, but, I'm pushing forward, and I'm in a real space where I'm being able to have the opportunity to build something that's bigger than me, that can help a lot of people and give a lot of people opportunities and really educate and just showcase what this dynamic plant's all about. And most importantly, create a narrative of cannabis that's mine, that's authentic, that I'm proud of.
I love that.
Yeah, man. So you're gonna have to pull up, man. Everybody listening to this is gonna have to pull up. It's gonna have to pull up.
I'm over here now. I'm definitely down for the drive out there is amazing. The drive out there is the most mind clearing shit ever. Towards the end of it, I started to get into Denver, and the rocks and shit started to change, and the sky colors started. It was the most mind clearing drive. So I would love to come out there. I definitely got to pull up on you. Can I attend the smoke set? What is smoke sessions? Can I attend that when I get out there?
Man. That's one other thing that I think we're proud of, is being able to kind of host these micro cannabis friendly events, whether it's yoga, whether it's bike riding, whether it's a workout session, and just be able to, combine the other things that are involved with wellness. It's not all about the plant. It's all about, adding the plant to things that are already helping other people out too. The plant is going to cure someone all by itself. You still got to have good habits. You still got to exercise, take care of yourself, and do those things. And cannabis is an additive to that. So it's a value add. So, I'm just trying to open people's eyes and really create those kind of events and experiences where people can, come and just participate in wellness altogether and just learn about feeling better and feeling good and how it really affects your performance. And they'll really see a dramatic change in their life and just the quality of their life. Because like I said, I'm living proof, man. This has really helped me turn a corner and pull me out of a dark space. And, like I said, I'm always here for anybody, man, who's down and out, man, especially the athletes. They deal with this stuff on a daily basis. We're held to such high expectations, not just from our team and our employers and our teammates, but ourselves. And sometimes we don't live up to those expectations, and it doesn't feel good. And now, we got all the social media, so it's just, adding fuel to the fire. And so, we really, as athletes, got to be there for each other as brethren and sisterin, and just pick each other up and let us know that, it's bigger than this moment. It's bigger than these moments on the field and on the court. And, we got a lot of life to live and still a lot to achieve and fight for. That's how we coming. Smoke on that. Tell them to smoke on that. Hey, guess what, D? I'm high right now.
I can't follow that up. I feel like Papa Doc. It looks like, nah. You got anything else you want to plug? We gotta get out of here.
Man, let's check us out, man. The website, www.allproforms.net, man. We're just gonna be building and growing. So I hope everyone just, keeps an eye on us, man. And I can't wait till this thing really opens up so we can just start supplying everybody all over the country and the world, man. This is a big play.